29th of September 2021, we found out that Lio Rush was all elite, but we have found out now this past week he is leaving AEW. We're going to talk about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, this is WrstlXtra. I'm your boy, A Dazzle of the Black Wrestling Alliance, the Black Wrestling Advocate. Of course, as always, joined by my tag team partner, Mex, the WrestleManiac, if you will. That's Lio Rush is in a rush once again. No, it's not retirement this time for the 25,000th time. This time, it's actually just the running of a contract. His contract with AEW is running out. But the real news when it comes to this, we'll get into that. The real news when it comes to this isn't just his time is ending, but it's just how quick it is. And apparently, I use that word very massively, all caps. Apparently, he only signed a 5-month contract. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the tumbleweeds because, mate, let's put this into perspective just a little bit, yeah. So Lio Rush signs. It was back in September, right? Or it was officially announced in September. I think he signed before that, but it was officially announced in September that he had signed with AEW. Now, Lio Rush isn't someone that was an upstart in NXT. He wasn't someone that was kind of finding their feet, on the indies or kind of made it, or one of those guys that are popular within their state or within their territory, like the Northwest or the South or the East. Not one of those guys that are popular in their own territory. Lio Rush is big time. Lio Rush is big time. So while his accolades doesn't necessarily show that, but at the same time, you mentioned Lio Rush. Everyone knows who Lio Rush is. No one, as whether you like or dislike him, you can't deny his skill level, how good he is as a wrestler, how good he is promo, all the rest of it, undeniable. So you mean to tell me, Mr. Tony Kahn and all the boys, all the elite boys, thought to themselves, you know what? Yo, we're going to go and get Lio Rush. I sound like Vince McMahon. But anyway, we're going to go and get Lio Rush. But we're going to sign him to a 5-month contract. You've got guys like Marco Stunt, Brandon Cutler, as much as he's one of their friends, who are and signed multi-year contracts.
Yep.
Do not tell me that the guy that you mention his name and Twitter goes crazy, whether good or bad, you're looking to sign him for a 5-month contract. And even if, with Lio Rush being, or I guess, based on stories, based on whatever else, that he's apparently this difficult guy and does his own thing and whatever, he's retired whenever and just came back whenever and all that kind of stuff. Even with him being probably this awkward guy, takes things into his own hands. Even if he said, nah, I just want a 5-month contract. None of them said, yeah, cool, let's go. Let's do it for 5 months. Bro, talk to me, because I don't want to speculate it being the whole thing with Swole and the tweet and Tony Khan and the conversation and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I don't know. Talk to me. I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, this is This is nonsense. I don't believe this for a second. For a second. I mean, like you said, and I'd even come to argument for, you said he hasn't quite even got the accolades. Leo Rush has won everywhere he's gone.
Very true.
And
Very
I
true,
mean,
very
it's
true.
maybe it's not the top accolades of those promotions, but
Yep.
he's not a heavyweight, so you can't really expect him to become heavyweight champion in every single place. But
Very true.
he's won gold in MLW, he's won gold in Mexico, he's won gold in WWE.
Yep.
This guy is a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Companies recognize that
Everywhere.
Like, yes, we know he has had a bit of a checkered past, staying at companies, retiring, mental health, this, that. There's always something with Leo Rush.
Right.
I do not believe, after all the, we want Leo Rush to stay. Remember, he came in Double or Nothing and he left.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to take some time off of, or whatever the case is. He came back. They made a big effort, publicly anyway, that they wanted Leo Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Leo Rush came in. They inserted him immediately into their TV show, more or less on a regular basis, being like the mentor to one of their upstarts, someone they have a lot of, stock in, right? You do not do all of that for a man that's coming to stay for 5 months, firstly, on a 5-month contract. Even along, where I was going, my chain of thought, like, he hasn't, in that 5 months, he didn't even get like one big match, like one match that you could say, okay, maybe this is just what he was brought in to do. There has been no punctuation to his AEW career as of yet. And now he's on his way out after, they've announced that after 4 months, it's going to be the 5-month mark when he's leaving. But it's like, no one signs a contract for that short. Not even 6 months. 6 is like a round number. At least. You might hear a 6-month contract or whatever.
Right.
Now, Leo Rush has come out and said, he wants to be free in his endeavors and all of that. He wants to go everywhere. We saw him in GCW this past weekend. I get it. I hear it. But then why do you sign, like, 5 months is still nailing down your future for a certain amount of time. Yes, it's not too long, but you've still committed to somewhere. I don't believe I don't believe this at all. I'm sorry. I'm not buying for a second. This was a 4, 5, 6 month contract. I'm not buying it. I'm not having it. It's not really done in this industry. And I know AEW want to be this progressive brand, this progressive promotion, do things differently. Again, I hear it. But to be fair, I don't think that provides security for the wrestler in an industry where things are very volatile, especially after the pandemic. You're going to want some type of security. The guy has a wife and kids. And for the company, AEW, they're investing in somebody. Would you do that for 5 months?
Come on, bro.
You wouldn't want more certainties? Like, this doesn't make sense from anybody. I doubt the truth is going to surface anytime soon. In terms of what's really happened, we all probably can tie this very much back to, Leo Rush speaking on behalf of Big Swole, calling out his boss on the timeline, which was a very, ballsy move, if you like. And, he said he's kind of spoken to Tony Kahn since. We haven't seen him on TV since he had this conversation with Tony Kahn. And the next time we hear from him, he's basically lost his job. And like many others, this is the only thing that, makes sense here. 1 + 1 = 2 in this scenario. But 1 + 1 equaling a 5-month contract, I ain't buying it. I can't. It don't make sense.
Oh, man. It really does not make any sense whatsoever. It's this whole... If it was this 5 months, as you said, if it was this 5 months, why did we not bring Leo Rush in and go straight after Darby Allin, Miro, whoever was the TNT champion at the time?
Exactly.
Why have we not had Leo Rush versus Sammy Guevara, a dream match in many people's eyes for the TNT championship since then? It's an absolute lot of rubbish. I mean, it's not it's not clear to, to conclude what the reason actually is. Because again, as I've said, you've got Lio Rush, who kind of, is in his own world, does his own thing. And when he wants to change his mind, he'll just change his mind. He may, want to be there for 5 years one day. Come the next morning, he wants to be there for 5 months. He says, "Oh, I'm gone."
Mm-hmm.
He's that type of guy. So that wouldn't even surprise me either if that was the case.
Yeah.
But then what makes this, even more strange is, as you said, like, there was this conversation. Lio Rush has come out and said he had a conversation with Tony Khan about, about what Swole was saying about the black experience in pro wrestling. Said he was happy to work with Tony Khan, a guy that is this and that and whatever lies he told, and was here almost. I don't know if he didn't actually say these words, but the way it was said, it was almost like he was here to now be, or proclaim himself as an advocate for equality for African Americans in AEW for the long haul, not for the next couple of weeks. You know what I mean? How do you say that on the 3rd of January, I believe it was, 2nd or 3rd of January, and then come Valentine's Day, you're gone?
No love lost.
Well, at least his wife's happy that is free on Valentine's Day. That's all right.
Yeah.
But it makes just no sense. It makes no sense. Someone's lying somewhere. Someone's trying to spin some kind of web of lies and fool us, and it's just not happening. It's not happening. Someone has had an argument somewhere. He probably had an argument with Mark Henry in the back or something. You know what I mean? They probably had another argument again.
Maybe.
But Talk of Champions has put in the chat, like, I don't think that talk with Tony went as he told us it did. I would not be surprised if that was the case. He's gone in there, possibly all guns blazing, said what he needed to say. Tony Khan's responded in however he's responded, but then I don't know whether Lio Rush has gone away thinking, yeah, I said what I needed to say, so things are gonna change. Tony Khan's probably thinking, this idiot. And now we haven't seen him since. And apparently he was also scheduled to be on TV in January. So that's how you know. And it's not injury, because obviously he was at GCW on the weekend. So it's not injury.
Mm-hmm.
Something's gone wrong somewhere. What's funny is, I read a report, I can't remember what site it was on, that, talking about this whole thing, and even they're trying to say that it's not weird because there are other contracts that are up soon within the same, week or whatever else. So there are other contracts, Joey Janela, Marco Stunt, a few others, I can't remember who.
And all of those names, including the likes of Scorpio Sky, there's some others, are all original AEW guys that signed 3-year contracts from day one.
Exactly.
So yeah, it makes sense that their contracts end at this time. It don't make sense a man that started in the end of September is already out the door.
It's almost like they're trying to say, with maybe mid-February being the end of however many contracts, and probably even thinking about the financial year, trying to be clever. When they signed Lio Rush in September, they thought, oh, let's not make it a full-time contract. Let's end it around the same time as everyone else's. Like, I just can't. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Can we be a bit more transparent in all of these things? You know what I mean?
Like, for me, like, we like, that's a good point you just raised there. Maybe they gave him this contract and said, okay, the rest of people's contracts, or maybe this is like a budgeting point for them. This is when everyone's contract is going to end. So let's pull his contract till then, reevaluate it, see what happens, see if he wants to stick around or whatever. This Tony Khan Big Swole thing has happened, and maybe he thinks Lio Rush, that is, that he wants to step away from these guys, whatever the case is. But ultimately, it just doesn't add up. I don't believe that he is leaving. He is in the thick of a storyline, not a high profile storyline by any means, but still a storyline. He was doing something on TV,
right?
And for them to just kind of, chop out, replace him, and all of a sudden he's leaving. We haven't seen him since he's had this public kind of calling out of Tony Khan. Like Talk of Champions said, he said the talk went well and Tony's taking it on board. We didn't see a Tony Khan apology up to today. We're nearly a month since that incident happened. We ain't seen a Tony Khan apology. So how well did the talk really go? And ultimately, it looks on the face of it that Lio Rush has now become dispendable. He's now lost his job. Whether that's they've asked him to step away or whatever the case is, within 3 weeks of that incident. It really doesn't add up. And I just think as well, like Lio Rush, he's had his go at these bigger companies. The guy is what, 25, 26 maybe or so now.
I believe, close to 26.
He's got so much still to offer, and now we have to ask ourselves: is he ever going to be at the top level? Is he ever going to get back into one of these places? It's very sad. I think just with him generally, just how the careers went, he hasn't really found anywhere to call home. Maybe home is the indies for him, where he can kind of just turn up, do what he likes, and go. Maybe he's that kind of character. He doesn't want any chains on him and stuff. I don't doubt, that he hasn't got a part to play in this just because of what history of Lio Rush tells us.
Right.
However, I'll say this. I'm still a fan of AEW. I really enjoy the product week to week. But at this point, I have completely lost faith in the upper management there. I don't know what's going on and how things are being managed, and it's not transparent. I think with WWE, we've come to know, like, it's not a nice place, that everyone seems like they're there on a mission. I'm a worker, I'm a cog in a machine. When my time's up, it's up. And it's kind of like you're told that from day one. Whereas AEW, it's almost developing into a similar situation, but it's like they're doing it with a handshake and a smile on their face. So people think it's okay. But it's like, no, it's the same sort of thing. I really enjoy AEW week to week. So this is no AEW slander, but upper management, the people running things over there, I've lost faith. I don't know what is happening.
I'll try my best for this not to be AEW slander. I'll try my best. I'm not a complete hater of the product at all. Obviously, my agenda is to see our people do great, and if I don't see that happening in the company, I'll call it out. I don't care what company it is. WWE, AEW. It seems to happen quite often in AEW. But my thing is, I don't understand. I don't understand how you're. I'll go back to the point that I made earlier. I don't understand how you're going to give a guy a 5-month contract and then not really do anything with him. But then, to your point that you just made about them doing it with a smile and a handshake, the problem with AEW has always been from the start isn't necessarily what they're doing. It's more so what they said they were going to do. That's where they shot themselves in the foot from day one. Because all the stuff that's actually happening, all the cracks and whatever else that we're seeing in AEW is nothing new at all. We've seen it in Impact, we've seen it in WWE, we've seen it in countless indie promotions, all that kind of stuff. However, whatever the cracks are, whether it be the racial side of things, whether it be poor booking of certain people, regardless of what race they are and where they've come from and all that kind of stuff. There being too many people there at the moment and whatsoever. The problem is they keep doing it and still try to do this whole thing where we're different, we're progressive, we're inclusive. You're gonna feel like this when you come here. Even Tony Khan's talking about how our contracts. People are when people sign to AEW, they're here for life. Huh? Leo Rush was there for 5 months. What life is that? What life is that? And then you've got the likes of, Brian Cage was another one whose contract's running out. They're not renewing that one. Marco Stunt, Joey Janela possibly. And it's and that's fine. It's okay that their contracts run out. That's fine. But don't make statements like you are here for life. And then your contract runs out and Marco Stunt hasn't been on TV since November, I think I read.
I think I heard he got injured and he just hasn't been on TV.
Yeah. And so that there is the problem with AEW is this whole talk of we're doing this, we're gonna do this, we are that. But then I don't know, maybe they fooled themselves. Maybe they thought they could do all of those things, and maybe they thought that that's what we're going to do, and that's fine, that's cool. But be very realistic as well. Because I said from day one, they had all these promises and whatnot, and I'm like, yeah, but this is a wrestling company. This is pro wrestling. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with, especially when it comes to like when TV is involved as well. You lose a lot of your own power when it comes to TV, because if you're not hitting those numbers, TV are gonna threaten you to cut you off. So you have to do over certain things that you didn't really want to do, or probably wasn't in your plans to do, but you got to do it to keep them numbers up and to keep that deal going, to keep that money. So I don't know, man. Again, it's this lack of transparency. It's it's trying to pull the wool over our eyes like we're stupid. I mean, I know there are a lot of wrestling fans out there that are a little bit stupid. I know. I see them often on Twitter. I know. But come on, really? Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think Anafi said in the chat he's waiting for that podcast. Once he's gone, I'm sure it may come out eventually. It may not. Who knows? But we just know that one or both are talking absolute rubbish. And there's been some kind of dispute, some kind of issue, some kind of problem. Or Leo Rush has just woke up one morning and decided to do something, and that's what's happening. It's a crazy situation, bro.
Like I said, I've never heard, no matter what the industry is or whatever the case, I've never heard of a 5-month deal. 6 months, fair enough. Rolling contract, month to month, fair enough. And if it was a rolling contract, he could say, him and Tony could decide we're parting ways, and he would already be gone. We wouldn't be waiting till February 14th.
Right.
5-month contract. It just sounds like something they just pulled out of their backside to cover themselves. Maybe it covers some, I don't know, appearances for Leo Rush until then. Who knows? It's so random that it's just like, it's very unbelievable. And like I say, I understand they're trying to maybe do wrestling in a different way, that this could very much be a thing in the industry nowadays. Who knows? But it just sounds so foreign and so weird for both parties. Like I said, why would you invest in a guy for 5 months and that's it, and he doesn't even have any payoff, or there was no big moment of his run? Why would Leo Rush, a man with a wife and kids, only sign a 5-month deal in the middle of a pandemic, which is still going on? Like,
and he came out of retirement to do that.
Yeah, like maybe I don't know if I'm trying to rationalize this and think like a regular person, and I'm not thinking with my wrestler hat on. I don't know, it just doesn't sound like this adds up in any way. I don't know who's telling the porkies, whether it's AEW, whether it's Leo Rush. Maybe it's a bit of both. They're not saying the real reason why the relationship has broken down and they've separated. Like I say, we all are gonna keep tying it to the Big Swole situation and Leo Rush ultimately calling out his boss in front of the entire world on Twitter. We're gonna call, I pretty much think that's it. But until that podcast episode or interview or whatever happens, I guess we're never really gonna know.
Oh man, yeah. It's difficult to kind of work out what the actual problem is here and whatnot. Again, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Talk Champion just said that he asked for his release. You know what? I actually thought it could be the other way around. Whereas they're ready to get rid of him, he's like, not like that. You need to still pay me until whatever time.
So maybe a date in between when they wanted to
Yeah,
release him and his actual
something
contract.
like that.
Maybe, but then it's like, are you gonna put me on TV then? Like, it still doesn't really add up. I don't know.
I mean, now that he said what he said, what are they gonna do with him? They're gonna put him on dark for 2 weeks.
We'll see.
Like, there's literally 2-3 weeks to go until he's a free agent. You know what I mean? They can't insert him back into the storyline because of they've thrown Jay Lethal in there. I posted this story a few hours before we came on air.
Yeah.
And someone put in the comments, AEW think they're smart by taking out Leo Rush and replacing him with the other new black man, and we won't realize. Like, that's literally what's happened, bruv. They've taken Leo Rush and inserted Jay Lethal.
Well, do they think like white America's gonna be like, oh, Leo Rush got a bit bigger?
Yeah, exactly. Bruv, it again just highlights this whole lack of sensitivity that they have.
Lack of sensitivity.
It's just crazy. It is just crazy. I don't know what they're going to do with him. They're not going to use him. I'm sure they're not going to use him. It'd be ridiculous if they did. His 5 months has meant basically nothing. He more or less did nothing for Dante Martin. We had that whole switch where Dante Martin signed with Team Taz just to do the date on them, like the first match that he had with them.
Yeah.
What? For what? It's not like it was him and Ricky Starks in the Dynamite Diamond final.
Yeah.
And Dante done the dirty on Ricky Starks before Ricky Starks would do it on him. That would have then made some kind of sense for that one time bunch of rubbish.
I don't know, bro.
What? Oh man, listen, moving on. But we're keeping it AEW. Moving on. We saw Jade Cargill on Rampage on Friday have her first title defense. She's the TBS champion, of course. Won a tournament, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now, to become the first ever TBS champion. She had a match against Anna Jay, a very competent competitor for that title. A decent match all in all. Of course, Jade Cargill retained. Jade Cargill, TBS Championship, TBS booking. What are we? I'm guessing we're not saying anything different about how Jade Cargill's being portrayed in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, my thoughts on the match. I actually thought this match was better than decent. I thought this was very, very good. I think now Jade has that accolade, that belt with her. She showed a lot of what can I call it? A lot of sass. She was very sassy, with it. Like the cockiness is beginning to come out. She is looking like she, owns the yard, like she says she does. She was smiling a lot, playing to the camera a lot. She's very happy to be champion. I think that came across a lot in that match in her segment. Again, she was in the main event, so that's always good for her profile. I think she done a good job selling, before Mark Henry does the whole "it's time for the main event" thing. She done a good job with her verbiage, her promo beforehand, and I think we could see a lot of growth in Jade. I think even in just the 1 week she's become champion. My biggest thing with Jade is still like everything's being done from like behind, like round the corner. Nothing's really happening in front of the people. Now, I put this out on Twitter and someone came back and said to me, look, she's obviously still green. She's still maybe learning the mic skills and stuff like that. Hence why they're not giving her a live mic in front of, the whole arena. Why kill her off before she has a chance to really get comfortable? I hear it. It makes sense. My question back to the guy, which he didn't reply to, is where does she learn then?
Right.
Where will she learn? You've already committed and made her a champion in your promotion. So she can't run her whole promotion. Her whole gimmick of being Miss TBS herself and everything like that.
Right.
You can't do that from the back, and you can't do it from behind Mark Sterling either. At some point, you need to take to the mic. You need to address the crowd. You need to take that heat. You need to flip it back on them. That is wrestling.
That's very true.
Burning and having bad promos and things not getting across is part of her learning. You can, I would say, understand the whole wrapping her in cotton wool, but you've made her champion now, so she has to go out and be a champion.
Right. That was exactly going to be my point. It's like she's the champion. They've put that on her now. So they had to think to themselves, right, she's ready enough to be the center point of one, the show itself, and two, the women's division. As much as Britt Baker's the AEW women's champion on TBS, on that show, it has to be Jade.
Yeah.
Or it has to be whoever is the TBS champion. So if they feel the need to wrap her up in cotton wool and make sure that she has the chance to do 1 or 2, 3 different takes of whatever she's doing in the back and not have her out on, shouldn't have made her champion.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Shouldn't have made her champion at all. I honestly believe, and I agree actually, that I would actually have her stay in the back for a while. But at the same time, with that said, you then don't make her champion. I wouldn't have made her a champion. I don't. We had this talk, I think it was last week, if not 2 weeks ago, about is she the right person to be champion? And I don't necessarily doubt that she is. I don't, but I'm also saying, like, throw her to the wolves. If you're going to do that, just do it. Just do it. She's not going to learn quicker. She's not going to learn better. And I know there are such things as promo classes and whatnot when it comes to wrestling training and whatever else. And not obviously, very few people get the chance to practice in the moment. Very few. But at the same time, the way you've built this woman, she's now gone 25 matches unbeaten. She's now your champion. All the rest of it, let her do it. Just give it to her and done. When it comes to this not so smart Mark Sterling, I just don't get him. I just don't get him.
I'm not invested in him at all.
I don't see the point in him whatsoever. There was this little exchange with him and Silver.
Yeah.
And again, it was just like, what was the point? It didn't add to the match. It didn't take from the match. It did nothing, literally nothing. It's not like Jade took the opportunity to then go after Anna Jay while Mark was causing the distraction. It was more for Silver to be put over.
Like even the thing with Smart Mark here, like if you're gonna give someone a manager, like traditionally, like okay, let's take Heyman and Brock Lesnar. They will still come to the ring. Heyman, the manager, will do all the talking, and Brock Lesnar will look menacing, saying nothing in the middle of the ring. But they're still cutting promos from backstage. So do they now not trust Smart Mark as a talker either?
Right.
Which then makes it seem like, what is his purpose? Like, I just feel like they need to, even if it's on Rampage, where the viewership, obviously the TV viewership will be less because of the time it's happening and all of that kind of stuff. Just let Jade have some promos there. Like, I understand if she's not ready. She doesn't need to come out and say War and Peace. It doesn't need to be a 20-minute promo. She can just say a couple things or whatever the case is, mic drop, walk out. Just get comfortable. Like, she is the TBS champion, right? That is the Wednesday show. That's Dynamite.
That is the show.
That is the show. And she's now, I mean, the week after she won it, there was a little backstage promo. I can't understand how the TBS champion hasn't come to address the entire network, come out and made noise about her winning it in front of the whole crowd, eat the booze or whatever the case may be. Like, this is her show. This is actually her
Right.
show. Wednesday Night Dynamite is her show now.
Right.
The men's TNT title belongs on Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh my gosh, yeah,
that's how it
For real.
should be.
For real.
TBS put in their Twitter bio, Jade Cargill is our champion. I don't know if it's
Right.
still there, but when she won it, that's what it was. And I even feel like, just in terms of playing off all of that, this is a missed opportunity. They want her, and maybe this might be a bit far-fetched, I won't lie, but maybe this is a fear of Jade could eclipse Britt Baker. Because Britt Baker, let's not lie, she's cooled down a lot. She's good still, but she has cooled down a lot. They're preparing the next challenges. People aren't quite ready. And maybe this is them not wanting to make the women's secondary title eclipse the world championship. I don't know.
But there's no secondary titles in AEW.
Wow.
Apparently.
Wow.
Again, AEW and their proclamations just came backfiring on them. Andrew says, true that I agree with Josh. I agree with you, Joe. She would be pushed to the moon. Jade versus Bianca is a dream match right there. Well, I mean, I don't know where this is going. What you said wasn't that far-fetched. It's not that far-fetched to the point where, Jade Cargill could possibly eclipse Britt Baker. And that's not because she's necessarily better than Britt Baker overall, but there is the star power that Jade has that Britt Baker just doesn't and just wouldn't. Britt Baker is very much a women's wrestler, whereas Jade is the non-pro wrestling's favorite wrestler, if that makes sense. She would surpass the pro wrestling sphere and be regular media, general media, all the rest of it. Like, she's got that. Britt Baker does not.
She's China.
Right.
And I know some people have some, mixed thoughts on China, but I remember China as a child trying to be on TV, and like, with all due respect, when I say this, people will look at TV and see like, what's that? This woman that's got massive muscles, tall, built, that is the effect you get when you see Jade Cargill. It's more than wrestling. She plays her cards right, and she's handled well and everything. She'll be she'll be in movies soon.
Right.
You see what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing.
Ain't no one looking at Britt Baker thinking, yeah, I'm going to put her in a movie.
Yeah, maybe a rom-com or something. And not to go off topic, I even think this Adam Cole, Britt Baker thing they're doing on TV, as much as I would have actually called and said, oh, I like power couples. I've always loved that in wrestling. But this, to be honest, is very detrimental to Britt Baker and her title run, because they're basically hiding the fact there's no challenges for her right now by putting her with Adam Cole. I think it's proper detrimental. And maybe, like I say, they don't want Jade to eclipse Britt Baker.
That's interesting. As great as they are as a power couple, as much as we probably all wanted it or waited for it since Adam Cole signed, probably even before Adam Cole signed with AEW, because we obviously already knew that they were a couple. Yeah, maybe it's come a little bit too early. Maybe Adam Cole should have probably done a little bit more first before this happening. Like you said, Britt Baker. Yeah, okay, so you can argue Chris Statlander's there as a challenger. But at the same time, it's all mixed with, at the end of the day, we're looking at Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. And it's not for Britt versus Statlander. So it's not too far-fetched that they're trying not to have Jade eclipse Britt Baker, but who knows? Everything else that we said about Jade not being... Go for it.
Sorry, I was just saying, it's still there, apparently. W Podcast, Mex, TBS have still got Jade as our champion on their Twitter. What's that, 3 weeks later?
3 weeks. And we've had one title defense, no live promo, no addressing of being the main person on this network, which is a new network, which is a new show on the network. Not a new network, but a new show on the network. Make a statement. Say something. say that now that we're here, this is the place to be. This is my yard almost.
Yeah.
She's not. She was saying the joke is she was saying stuff like that before even winning the championship.
True.
So why is she not saying it now? Oh God. Speaking of promos, and moving on to the next thing. Speaking of promos, a promo that I was very, very heavily disappointed at was the weigh-in with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. I don't want to talk too much about the promo itself. I think it was absolute rubbish. Compared to what they've done over the last couple of weeks with them two, which has been fine, which has worked. For this to be the last encounter before their match was so weak. It was so weak. It lasted about 5 minutes. Had nothing to it. Brock Lesnar's come out with a cowboy hat and fully dressed and blah blah blah, and basically said the same thing that he said 2 weeks ago. Bobby who, and as great as that was then, it didn't work yesterday.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I think generally Raw was a good show last night, but I think it wasn't a good go home show to the Rumble.
Definitely not.
I'm looking forward to the Rumble because it's the Rumble. I didn't feel like Raw did anything for any segment, to push us into that the pay-per-view this weekend.
Right.
I think that the Lesnar and Lashley segment, I had high hopes for that opening segment, and it didn't really work. And maybe this weigh-in thing in wrestling, now that AEW have done it with Ogogo and Cody, we've seen it now, WWE. Let's just leave it alone, guys. It doesn't seem to work.
No.
Brock, like, it didn't connect. Lashley didn't really do anything of note. He looked great, during the weigh-in. MVP said some lines, but it just didn't connect. What we saw last week with the what do you call it? At the promo package between the two of them in comparison, that was way more effective. And that probably would have worked to treat happening this week and maybe the weigh-in last week if they had to do a segment. But I'm still looking forward to the match. But this particular week, this segment didn't do nothing for me either.
Nah, not at all. It's disappointing because it's almost it deflated me just a little bit when it comes to the match itself. And this should have been the thing to cement your enthusiasm for the match.
Yeah, your interest.
What Brock did just didn't work. A part of me is starting to fear the Brock Lesnar actually winning and what that's gonna mean and look like for Lashley. I don't know. It was the first time I had the actual doubt in since the match was announced, I guess. When looking at everything, because WWE have done it before. They've made someone look silly the whole time. So then you think that person's gonna win, but then they don't.
Yeah.
It's happened with so many people before. So who knows what's gonna happen. Moving on to the Rumble match itself. Who do we have in the Rumble match? There's Omos, there's Big E, Kofi Kingston. Obviously we have Bianca Belair and Naomi in the women's one. In the men's one, do you think any of our people would do anything of significance? Is anyone going to win? What is going to happen on Saturday?
I think Omos is going to play a significant part in the Rumble. Maybe be the big man that comes in, chucks everyone out, and then the usual people gang up on him to get him out. So Omos might have a good showing. Obviously, with my prediction that Lashley's going to beat Lesnar, I still think Lesnar's going to enter the Rumble and win.
Okay.
We have the little caveat of this Saudi show in February, which I think will be a rematch, Lashley versus Lesnar, but I'm sure, like I say, Lashley will go into that as champion and win again. Or maybe Lashley wins the WWE Championship at Saudi. Who knows? But and in terms of the women's Rumble, I was very confident Bianca Belair that she wins. I know it's winning again, but like I said,
Mhm.
the story with her and Becky is there. Like they can just run that. But now we're seeing all the rumors of Ronda Rousey, and I don't mind Ronda Rousey coming back because that's a story, her and Becky as well. This is WrestleMania season. They get all the heavy hitters in to put on a great show. 2-night WrestleMania. This will be, in a 100,000 seater stadium, which they're gonna need to fill out. So I get it, and because Bianca won last year, I'm not mad at Ronda Rousey coming in and winning it. My question: if Ronda Rousey comes in and wins it, she will stick around. We saw her stick around last time she was in WWE. Obviously, she's a mother now. But how will this affect or hamper the rest of the roster, the likes of Bianca post WrestleMania? If Ronda Rousey does go on to win, are these people that are still going to be, given opportunities and things like that? If Ronda beats Becky and things like that, we might just be in, getting Becky and Ronda for months on end, like post Mania, if that does happen. So yeah, I'm not against Ronda coming in and winning at all. It's the nature of the business. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Bianca, as far as I'm concerned, still needs a Mania match. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. What's your thoughts on the winners and
that? As I said last week, I'll be quite surprised if Bianca wins for a second time. It will be a massive statement in my eyes if she does. It's not impossible. I just kind of maybe don't see it happening. But I would love to. With Ronda Rousey, the talk of Ronda Rousey coming back, we're gonna see a lot of judo flips again. I'm not excited by it. I'm not gonna be necessarily mad at it, but at the same time, I'm just not excited. I wasn't excited about her coming the first time. I was not excited in the slightest about her run. And just how detrimental it was to every single woman on the roster. I just felt it was so detrimental to every single one of them. If going back to her run and how her first run in WWE, if it was a thing where she went through the roster, then won the championship at Mania, I would have been all right. It would have made a little bit more sense. But for her to win the championship so early and then just destroy it, I just felt like that was just wrong. But if she comes back, wins, goes for Becky, yeah, I guess it's a win for. I guess it's a win for mums all around the world. Basically, let's put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know with the women's one. As I said, if Bayley was coming back, I would have said, boom, she's winning. But I think it's and we said Asuka as well a few weeks ago. Whoever it is that returns, it's going to be a returning person who wins. I don't see it being anyone that is active right now. So if Asuka, Bayley, or Ronda comes in, it's out of those three. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, or a miraculous return by Sasha Banks.
Or let's pray for that miraculous return from Sasha Banks. When it comes to the men's one, Omos is going to be the new Kane, get rid of a whole lot of people. Then it's going to take 8 men to throw him over the top and whatever else. Kofi is going to do some miraculous escape artistry as he does every year. Big E, I've given up all hope on Big E already, which is very sad because he only lost the championship about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Big E was WWE champion 3 weeks ago.
And now he's just not in the conversation of anything.
Not even on the show.
Right. He turned up for Kofi on SmackDown, but yet wasn't on Raw yesterday. I don't get that at all. I don't know what that means. But here's a crazy one. Here's a crazy one that I thought of. Someone has been making some statements on Twitter the last couple of weeks. And with Mickie James coming into the women's Royal Rumble match, Mickie James, of course, being the current Impact Knockouts champion. I honestly believe, or not believe, not believe. it's a possibility, and he's been saying this all over Twitter. Moose might
Boo. Nah, kill it. Kill the
Moose
shot.
might turn up to the Rumble. I mean, he's been saying this, that, and whatever else. He made a statement. Yes, well, it was posted yesterday or this morning. He did an interview or whatever else, and was saying how Impact is better than, or as good as, if not better than, AEW and WWE. Obviously, since he won his championship, he's been, giving it big talk about he's the greatest world champion that there is. Countless times calling out Roman Reigns. Even had Booker T saying, someone needs to give them to a match on Booker T's podcast. And Moose even posted a picture of a very old American football match that they had when they were both in college, with Moose on one side of Syracuse University he used to play for, and then Roman Reigns was part of Georgia Tech, and that's they had whatever American football match then. So it's like he's trying to stir the pot. I don't know if he's just using this whole speculation to his advantage, or he's teasing us for what might be an inevitable surprise entry from the Impact World Champion in the WWE Royal Rumble. I would love it to see. I'd love to see it. Not in the same way that I did when there was first speculation of Moose going to WWE.
Yeah,
because we've discussed it on here how his whole run since he re-signed with Impact has just been just non-impactful, basically.
completely.
And even his run since becoming champion has just been next to nothing. But just to see the Impact World Champion in the Men's Royal Rumble would be nice. Just to see
don't mind it
with Moose, in WWE, basically.
Like you're saying, I don't mind it if he comes for a cameo or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
He won't get no big reception. He won't get a big reception. I can tell you that.
We'll see, but like he is light years away from winning it. Like he ain't winning anytime soon.
That's definitely not happening.
So yeah, it's you know what? Even with the Rumble, I feel like the draw for the Rumble is at this point is probably Lashley versus Lesnar. Both Rumble matches seem very understated, and we'll as we do as fans, when we're in the moment, once the Rumble starts, we're gonna be gassed for it. But like the Women's Rumble, they've semi-spoiled by announcing more than half of the field. Basically, the Men's Rumble, we keep seeing the likes of the Mysterios and Street Profits throwing each other over the ropes. We'll get some other names in there. There'll be some NXT guys. Gunter might be in there. we might get a Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker has to be in it. Has to be.
Yeah, like we'll see some guys, and it'll be fun. But I think with the women's one, I feel like this Ronda Rousey, her coming back, like I said, I'm all for. I love a bit of sports entertainment, so I'm all for it. But I feel like for Bianca, especially, where we want to see her kind of ascend a lot of the time, this could be a screeching halt. But I think talk of champions, I think they said in the comments somewhere, this could be what it takes to kind of revive the women's division, which I agree, because women's wrestling was at its peak 2018 when Ronda was around. They were, even if people were losing to Ronda, they were doing a lot with the division because they had eyes, externally, or people watching it and stuff like that. So if that's the effect that Ronda's gonna cause again, then I'm all for it, because the women's division hasn't been great in recent times. So yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. You want the likes of Bianca, Sasha to still have their space to flourish, but for me personally, like, Ronda is a big deal for them, ratings, more eyes, and all of that stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I feel as though like the women's Rumble in WWE's eyes, it feels as though they're desperate.
Yeah,
all those announcements, all those announcements happening, it just feels like it's a bit of a desperation move for them to, try and find people to put in the match, try and find some way of getting us excited for that specific match. But at the same time, even the men's one, I'm not excited about necessarily either. As you said, once you're in it, you're in it. But at the same time, the initial excitement isn't necessarily there. But we'll see what happens.
Put it this way: the biggest announced star in the men's Rumble right now, I think, is probably Randy Orton. And I know there's a lot of names they haven't mentioned yet that they haven't said is going to be in the Rumble, but that's worrying for me because even the last time a couple years ago when Orton won the Rumble, he didn't need to. They could have motivated that Orton Bray match another way. So if Orton's the biggest name in this Rumble and he's gonna win, I'm worried. But
I think the one shocker is gonna be X-Pac.
Yeah. I think we can expect that.
I think he's gonna be in there. But before we end the show, we make some time this last 5 minutes to talk about some homegrown talent. We don't do it on this show at all. So we got the chance. Well, actually, I found out that Mex got the chance to see these guys live and in person. Progress Wrestling happened. I think it was number 129. I can't keep up with their numbers anymore.
127.
127. Yeah, 127. That's right. And there was a lot of Black British talent on show in very prominent matches and scenarios. So we had Rio and Mercedes Blaze, not Martinez. Mercedes Blaze challenge for the number one contender for the Progress Women's Championship. Amazing match. Two of my absolute favorite females in the UK. I'm glad to see Rio get even more exposure down south. She's very well known in the north of England, but now coming down south. And she was the one that won the match and will face Giselle Shaw at their next event in February for the Progress Women's Championship. We then also saw a 6-man scramble, which involved Roy Johnson, man like the Reese, Warren Banks, the iconic Jodie Fleisch.
Brilliant.
Absolutely amazing Jodie Fleisch. And also Dan Maloney, and I can't remember who the other guy's name was, but he's an Asian guy. Malik, that's it. Malik. He was kind of making waves as well. So basically, that was like 6 men, all non-white, all of them, which is phenomenal. Warren Banks ended up winning the match, of course. Absolutely amazing. Maxwell J. Freeman says, what do you think of Black Swan? Cara Noir. You know what? Cara Noir does not get talked about enough. He's
fantastic. Awesome.
Cara Noir is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But going back, so we now have 2 Black British contenders for their top titles. So Warren Banks is inevitably going to face whoever the champion is. Currently Cara Noir, but whoever the champion is at, I believe it's at their 10 or 20 year and 10-year anniversary show.
Yeah,
10-year anniversary show. And as I said, Rio will face Giselle Shaw at their next event in February. Also, as well, Anthony Ogogo made a surprise appearance. Nobody expected that. If you go and check out WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel, you'll hear Mex's reaction when he saw Ogogo. I've never heard anyone scream Ogogo so many times in my life.
Oh yeah, I was screaming Ogogo. Someone behind me actually screamed. I was Anthony! but yeah, I was like, oh my god, it's a go-go. That was me, yeah.
And he was phenomenal. Promo was crazy. Match was great. New finisher that he's got now, like a hanging DDT move after ropes, after turnbuckle. Yeah. But yeah, as I've said it before, progress. I'm making progress with what we experience in the UK when it comes to Black talent They're there, but they're not used. They're not used at all. So to see this from arguably the biggest UK promotion at the moment is great to see. Obviously, make sure you were there. You have about 2 minutes to talk about your experience. How did you find it all? How are you feeling about the way that we are being used right now in the Progress Ring?
Very positive. Very, very positive. Like we said, 6 men for number 1 contenders, all non-white. Very positive to see. The women, Mercedes-Benz Riho, were brilliant. Mercedes Blaze so entertaining.
Mercedes Blaze is absolutely phenomenal, bro.
Yeah, but Riho's good to see her win. Tonga was great as well. You know, Swerve Scott been announced. He's coming for the London show in February, I think it is.
March. He's doing
March. So Swerve Scott is gonna be there. Shane Strickland. And this weekend I'm going to watch OJMO versus Will Ospreay.
I hate you though.
for the British Heavyweight World Championship. We're all going out there to scream our heads off for OJMO to win that title. Yeah, it's the scene is alive again.
Right. That's definitely the feel. Because I believe that is the first show that Progress have done in front of a crowd.
Yeah, correct.
Since obviously the pandemic, and obviously they've been on the WWE Network or Peacock if you're in the US. So to see that with a crowd, all the rest of it is great to see. Also, not just Swerve, but Jonathan Gresham is going to be at their next show in February
in Manchester.
I've been saying I need to go to these shows, but I've never got the time or the money to go to them. So someone needs to sponsor me. Hint, hint. I start a GoFundMe. I'm gonna go GoFundMe, Progress GoFundMe. That's what I'm gonna start doing. I can get to these damn shows. And you know what? You mentioned the OJMO versus Will Ospreay. They've had a match before. It was a very, very close contested match. It ended by way of referee stoppage. So this whole thing is OJMO has not quit and has not been pinned by Will Ospreay. This ain't just some guy. This ain't Danny Burch. This is Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay main evented New Japan's Tokyo Dome this year, weeks ago. It's big.
Ah, man, it's crazy. So, and it looks very, very promising. Very, very likely that OJMO is going to come away as the winner and be the new Rev Pro undisputed British heavyweight champion.
I'm gonna still be the cruiserweight champion,
and still be the cruiserweight champion.
Double champion things.
I'm ready to scream. My head off. And for those that don't know as well, the OJMO, I'll sing his praises all day long, but the OJMO is also one of only 4, maybe 5 men who has beaten Pac in the last 2 or 3 years. Other names include Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Chris Jericho.
Look at the company.
Come on. Anyway, on that note, guys, keep your eyes on British wrestling. It is going crazy right now. If you need to hear those names again, just rewind the tape, or I'll just say them again. Roy Johnson will. The OJMO, Warren Banks, Rio, Tonga, Mercedes Martinez, man like Doris, Dan Maloney, Mercedes Blaze, and Jody Fleisch. All of those names I just mentioned, they're my stars of the week, actually. Let's just put it in that way as well.
Right.
Folks, on that note, we are out of here. Keep your eyes on us. I am a dazzle of Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, Black Wrestling A on Twitter. This guy over here is Mex, the WrestleManiac UK on Twitter, and WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram. Folks, we will be here again next week. Don't miss us too much. We'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.